outside of San Diego County's medical examiner's office with inewsource reporter Leo Castaneda to talk about opioid addiction here in San Diego County. You did extensive research. What did you find?
We found that this has been a problem that has been growing over the last 9-10 years. All throughout San Diego County, it's hit virtually every corner of the county. Last year there were 262 deaths, many of them from prescription pills, and also we're seeing a lot of people switching over from pills to illicit heroin.
And in addition to the numbers, you touch on some personal stories. Tell me about that.
That's right. I talked to Sherry Rubin. She's the founder and director of the Hope Together Foundation, and she first got involved with this issue through her son. He was a football player at Pirate High School, very healthy kid, and here's her story.
He had played football ever since he was 7, so through Pop Warner and then straight into middle school and high school, he played football. He wasn't that kid that the coaches always put in, so he worked hard to gain his position on the field, and it was really important to him.
Aaron started taking Vicodin in high school. In college, he also picked up Oxycontin, a powerful opioid painkiller. Then, at 23 years old, he overdosed.
So he had a heart attack, and then it shut down the rest of his body and its organs, so there was no oxygen going to his brain. So he suffered 2 strokes, front and back, both sides of his brain. He was in a coma for over a month and on life support, and we started planning his funeral, but then he started opening his eyes.
Today, the Rubins visit schools, sharing their story. For Sherry, Aaron is the one that makes a difference.
I could go in and say 1,000 words, and they're not going to listen to me. They're not going to remember me, but they will never forget Aaron. The picture of who he was before and seeing him in a wheelchair, how he is now. So,
their goal is to face the stigma of addiction and educate young people about the dangers of opioids, like prescription pills.
It's too late for my son. It's too late for my family. But it's not too late for others. And so that's why we do what we do. Not for us. For all of those families that don't think it will happen to them. We're trying to make that come true.
So as we just saw, addiction to painkillers, abuse of painkillers can devastate families and ultimately lead to death. What are you seeing as far as the deaths related to this issue locally?
We're seeing that a lot of the people who are, dying from this addiction, a lot of them are men, a lot of them are white, especially in these communities that were, outside of the traditional hotspots. And then a lot of them are young. The bulk of the individuals dying are older, and that has to do with pre-existing conditions like heart problems or liver problems. But when we look at people who visited emergency rooms like Aaron did and survived related to opioids, half of them are people in their 20s and 30s. So we're seeing a lot of young people becoming addicted to painkillers and heroin.
And you mentioned hotspots, which you had said were like downtown areas, City Heights areas, and now it's spreading, the problem is spreading. But how big of an issue is this in San Diego's more rural communities, suburbs?
It's a lot of times it's not huge numbers, but it's, communities that had seen maybe 1 or 2 opioid deaths 10 years ago are now seeing 4 or 5 in any given year. For example, Rancho Penasquitos had 0 deaths from heroin between 2000 and 2008. Since 2009, they've had 6. So again, not huge numbers, but these are communities that were, not used to seeing heroin in their homes.
Thank you so much, Leo.
Thank you.